Good evening, this is BelGeode and we are back with some more Microsoft Flight Simulator X Steam Edition. Welcome back, folks, and tonight we're going to be doing something a little bit different. I'm taking it back old school. By that I mean we're going to be doing some carrier ops, World War II style. So, as you can see, I am in the cockpit of a rather famous World War II aircraft. It happens to be my absolute favorite, the ever distinctive F4U-1D Corsair. We are here in Vanuatu at Bauerfield International Airport, as I'm sure you can see right there. And what I've done is I got some freeware ships from Sim Outhouse, World War II vintage ships, that I've placed at one of the waypoints using AI carriers somewhere off in that direction. I'm looking past the wing here. And we're going to be starting up, taking off from Bauerfield. We're going to see if we can trap on the ship. Now, I might add, this is going to be a lot different to what I'm used to, because usually on the World War II ships, there's no canted decks. It's straight down the center line. So with this big, huge honking engine in the way, that's going to make it real interesting trying to trap. But we're going to do it anyway. Alright, but first things first, I'm not going to go anywhere if I don't start up. So the first thing I'm going to want to do is put my prop pitch down to 0%. And we'll go ahead and start turning things on. So we'll start with the battery switch. Here we go. We're probably going to want the primer on in a moment, but before I do that, let me go ahead and open up these cowl flaps. And you can see they just opened up. The cowl flaps go around the big, huge radial engine there. Now, I'm not sure if I need the intercooler open as well as the oil cooler flap, but I'm going to go ahead and open them anyway, just out of habit. And let's see, I will need some lights and everything. Generator will turn you on in a second. Recognition lights, those are like our nav lights, I believe. Oh no, these are the nav lights. Alright, we'll turn you on as well. Formation lights, I want to say those are the strobes, so we'll leave those off right now. And you guys, okay, you're a pitot heat switch, so I won't need you just yet. Okay, I think that is about everything I need before starting up here. Alright, so let's get that primer on, and we will put our mixture to full. There we go. Make sure our fuel tanks are selected on main. Yes, they are. Very nice. Okay, let's hit the big starter switch. I do believe we've got a good start. Liking that. Liking that a lot. Alright, generator, you can now come on. There we go. Needle went up. We got some voltage. Very nice, very nice. Wait for the engine to heat up just a little bit here. And I'm also going to turn on the avionics bus, because without that, we can't contact the tower. That's our radio. Now, the aircraft that I'm in, by the way, is the aircraft factory version of the F4U Corsair. Aircraft factory, for those of you who do not know, is kind of like the precursor to A2A. So it's very well modeled, and it is no Milviz, because you know that Milviz is coming out with their Corsair, which looks almost exactly like this, by the way. The only problem with Milviz's Corsair, as beautiful as it is only going to be available for P3D version 4, from what I've heard. It's a little bit unfortunate, but I'm just glad that we still have this Corsair that we can use for our little carrier Corsair, and it does work rather well. Okay, sorry about that. Keep hitting my mic here. I've got all these cables all over me, and I can't see any of them because I'm inside the Oculus Rift. Alright, but now that we have that set, let me check our altitude. Okay, altimeter appears to be normal, so we are actually 80 feet above sea level at this airport. And I'm going to go ahead and open up our ATC control window. and we'll see if we can get clearance to get the heck out of here. Okay, we want to depart straight out. Vila ground, Navy 167, request taxi for straight out departure. Okay, that was pretty quick. We've got clearance already. Taxiing, hold short, runway 11, Navy 167. Alright, so, with our wings folded, we're going to make our way to runway 11, which is in that direction. And actually, I just went straight through the glass, so let's open up the canopy here. We can probably fly with the canopy open. There we go, that's more realistic. So yeah, end of the runway is over there. That's where we're headed. But before we can move anywhere, we will need to put our prop pitch to 100. So we'll drop that all the way down, make sure it says 100. Yes, it does. This middle switch for the supercharger, this doesn't really do anything. However, we want our mixture to full. And we will drop our flaps once we unfold our wings. Okay, everything appears to be in order. Temperatures are looking good. Fuel, we've got plenty. Hydraulics are on and up. I think everything is looking good here. Alright, let's head to runway 11. Brakes off. There we go. Give it a little bit of throttle. This being a tail dragger, it is a little bit of a pain to control. We've got that braking that I really can't stand. There's an actual term for it, but my mind is drawing a blank right now. I'm sure you guys will fill it in the comments there. I don't want to go too fast, otherwise that could be a problem. Okay, so we will waggle our way to the left. And I'm not exaggerating. When you actually fly these things in real life, or at least when you taxi them, you gotta kind of waggle to the left and to the right. Because as you can see, I can't see what's directly ahead of me because of this huge engine. So we're going to swing out to the right a little bit here. Okay, and we're near the edge of the runway, so we'll swing out a little to the left. We'll look through the other side. There is a bit of a breeze as well too, so that could humbug us as far as coming in for this carrier trap. But we'll see how well we can do this. Alright, swinging out to the right again. And I'm just lightly tapping the brakes so that we don't go too fast. There's the windsock. It looks like we've got a lot of breeze going on here today. Yep, got a stiff breeze coming out of the south. Alright, I can deal with that. I can deal with that. Where's the end of the runway? Alright, there's our turnaround. Drop the throttle back down to idle, and we'll set ourselves up, kind of turn ourselves around here, and that's what it's all about. Okay, right here is good. Perfect. Okay, parking brakes back on, and let's go ahead and unfold our massive wings here. I say massive because by World War II standards, they certainly are. The inverted gull wings were a rather interesting design that, aside from making the Corsair very distinctive, also helped as far as making sure that this prop had clearance, because this prop is like about 9 or 10 feet in diameter. It's huge. It's massive. I stood up next to one of these things before. The prop alone eclipses me. Alright, flaps down 1 notch. And let's see if we can call the tower really quick here. I have no messages for the tower. I might not be in the right position, so I think we'll need to push forward. Okay, but first let's get some more lights on. Alright, formation lights will turn you on. And landing lights will also turn you on. Now, since A2A also makes the shockwave lighting, you'll notice that the light here is a little bit brighter than you would normally see here in FSX Steam. That is because it's using shockwave lighting. So, nifty little addition that they have there. Okay, let's come off the brakes. push forward until we get the notification that we can contact the tower for takeoff clearance. I think I'm going to need to push past the numbers there. Try to line up dead center, or at least as close to it as I can get. Okay, there we go, there we go. Alright, back on the brakes. Vila Tower, Navy 167 ready for takeoff. Runway 11, departing straight out. Cleared for takeoff, runway 11, Navy 167. Okay, you heard the man. Now it's time to get out of here. I'm going to go ahead and leave the canopy open. I kind of like the wind rustling through what's left of my hair. Yeah, I just went there. Alright, I think everything else looks good, so we will brakes down and throttles up. Come off the brakes, we'll straighten up a little bit, and we'll take this bird out of here. As soon as the nose starts to dip, I'll go ahead and give her full throttle. Right now we're at about 75% throttle. A little bit of rudder to compensate for the torque. Here we go. Full throttle. We are at takeoff speed. So let's go ahead and get this bird airborne. You can see I'm starting to rotate a little to the left. That's the torque in this big, massive engine. Okay, but we are up, and there is Bowerfield. This Vanuatu island chain, by the way, is freeware, just so you're aware. Alright, we're going to need to trim up, so that way we're climbing. We do have positive rate, however, so gear up. And let's go ahead and get the flaps up while we're at it. Alright, good deal. We are flying, folks. We are flying. I'll remind you, trees are courtesy of Turbulent Designs TerraFlora. Looking rather beautiful, if I might add. We should be hearing from the tower momentarily that we are out of their airspace, but that's fine. I won't need to contact them anymore. What I do need to do, however, is find where I put that damn ship. I believe it's supposed to be at a heading of about 276 from the airport, so we're going to swing out to the right here. Alright, there's the tower. We are leaving their airspace. This is good. Okay, so we want heading 276 from the airport. Probably a little to the right of that, so maybe 280. I do love the fact that the person who created this island chain scenery has these little villages next to the airport, because it kind of makes sense. It's the only way in or out, really. Okay, I'm going to turn off my landing lights. I don't think I'll need them until we're ready to come in to land. What are we doing on speed? We're just over 200 knots. And we are currently at a heading of about 275. So yes, if we keep on this track, we should run into our ships. And holy crap, there's a bird in the way. Not today, bird. Not today. No bird strike for you. You just go on your merry way, son. Wow, okay. Weather is being provided by Active Sky Next. So as you can see, I'm having a little bit of difficulty trying to keep her under control. I am going to pull the throttle back a little bit, back to about 75%. Or I could just use manifold pressure, so we're at like 44 inches of manifold pressure. I'm not used to using manifold pressure for anything, even in real aircraft. So you'll have to forgive me if I don't give you like the specific numbers there. I'm going to trim her down a little bit, because as you can see, we are at 2,300 feet. And right out there is my carrier group. So let me tell you a little bit about the carrier group that we're going to be utilizing today. This is the Essex carrier group, and as I stated, you can find it on Sim Outhouse. What do you get with that? You get the Essex CV number 9. You also get an oiler ship, which I have taken the liberty of placing just to the right of the Essex. I forget the name of the oiler ship, however, so can't help you with that. You also get a destroyer, and I believe also a cruiser. So what I've done is I've set the cruiser in the back there. That is the USS Pensacola. And the destroyer is off to the left side of the carrier. You might be able to see it there. That is the USS Laffey. Now, in front of my little trio of ships there is a battleship. The battleship is the USS New Jersey. For some strange reason, it does not have any smoke coming out of the smokestack, but that's okay. We can live with that. And then in the front, all the way to the front, I've got another cruiser. I want to say that might be the Los Angeles. I don't know. Don't quote me on that. I know cruisers are traditionally named after U.S. cities, and of course battleships are named after U.S. states. So I want to say that's either a duplicate of the Pensacola or maybe it's the Los Angeles. I don't remember. And I know the carriers used to be named after Revolutionary War battle sites, and then of course they switched that and started naming it after admirals and then presidents, which is why our Nimitz-class cruisers are mostly named after presidents, some of which are named after admirals, for example, the Nimitz. Okay, but there is our carrier group. That is the boat that we are going to be trying to put this sucker down on. I might add, I am not used to doing this. So this could end up being a real goat rope if I don't do it properly. There we have our battleship, the New Jersey. I want to say that's an Iowa-class battleship. Okay, I've got to watch our altitude too. I want to be about 600 feet off the deck, so let's go ahead and trim her back up. And we'll take a look at our cruiser here, the LA, Los Angeles. I'm calling it that because that's what I think it is, but I might not be historically accurate, so don't hate me. Alright, but there it is. And I love the fact that the designer of this boat actually gave it the little World War II haze gray camouflage. That is so cool. It's the little things like that that really endear me to an add-on. Okay, so we're in the break. One thing I should add as far as the Corsair goes, when you're in the break, you want to be sure that you are not turning any steeper than about 45 degrees. You'll see right about there, I've got it at about 35 degrees bank angle. If you go any steeper than that, this thing has a tendency of rolling over due to all the torque. You can add some rudder to compensate, and I will probably do that in a second here, like right now. But again, you want to watch your bank angle, otherwise you will fall out of the sky, and that is not pretty, let me just tell you. Okay, I want to say this is the right direction we need to be going. The ship should be tracking due north, so we want to head due south. And I think right here should do it. Okay, we are going to need to slow down, however, otherwise our tail hook and our gear and all of that will not go down. So I'm going to throttle us back to idle for a second here. My plan is to go back past that cruiser back there, make our turn. You'll notice that I have these three ships really close together. There is a reason for that. Since we do not have a canted deck, and I won't be able to see the carrier because of this engine in the way, those two ships at the sides are going to be my marker to tell me exactly where the carrier is. So as long as we line ourselves up over that cruiser and just come straight in and try not to deviate too much, active sky next, I'm looking at you, then we should be good to go. Okay, we are just about a beam, so I'm going to drop the gear. Gear's coming down. We are losing a bit of altitude, but that's okay. We're over where we need to be. Tail hook. Let's see if we can put you down. Okay, tail hook is now down. And flaps, we'll drop the flaps about 3 notches. I'm going to quickly add that with this aircraft, I was having some difficulty when I was testing this out earlier. The difficulty was, this thing had a nasty habit of nosing over. No bueno. So I had to make some slight adjustments to the tail hook itself, as well as the actual speed that the tailhook, I guess, traps it. Not speed. Force is probably a better word to use, not speed. But suffice to say, I had to make a few modifications to this thing so it would actually trap without tipping over on its nose, because I will tell you right now, if it tips over on its nose, it will fall through the deck, and that'll be all she wrote for this landing. Although I do have crashes turned off, just in case. Now you might notice I am flying a little bit slow here at about 110 knots. The approach speed for this sort of carrier is supposed to be around 100 knots, and then our landing speed is actually about 90 knots. But because of the wind, I'm definitely drifting. You can see our little drift ball there. Can't decide which way it wants to go. And of course I'm having a little difficulty keeping us trimmed up here. Little trim wheel is off to the side of the seat. Pretty stiff breeze blowing here. We're now flying into the wind. We really should be landing in this direction, but because AI carriers will only place them at waypoints facing north, that kind of puts us in a little bit of a sticky situation where we're landing with the wind and not against the wind. Alright, but I think I might be able to pull this off. At least we're going to hope I can pull this off. I know I could do this if I were in a Tomcat. We'll see if I can do this in a Corsair. I do want to keep it above 500 feet, however. Might need to trim up just a touch more. Okay, landing lights, we're going to go ahead and put you on. Wow, that is bright. That is bright. Gotta love that shockwave lighting, folks. Okay, we are almost lined up. We want to be right over this cruiser. Traditionally, I don't know if these guys would be following each other this close, but for the purposes of our little carrier ops tonight, I will do that. Just so we can at least see where the hell we're going. Not that I can see anything with this engine in the way. Alright, let me dip the nose down just a touch. Yeah, it looks like we're lined up. Now we can start slowing down a little bit. Right now, of course, I cannot see any of the boats, but I can kind of lean my head off to one side. So there's our oiler. What do we have on the other side? Can't see anything. Why? Because we're sort of crabbing our way in. Oh, we're almost stalling too. That's also no bueno. There we go. Okay, so we've got the carrier up ahead. The wind is drifting us off to the left, so we need to crab a little to the right. Can I see the Laffy, our destroyer? There it is. I can see it now. Okay, so as long as I keep these puppies in between my field of view, we should be good to go. And start bringing her down, because we are way too high. I kind of like coming in a little bit higher than normal, but I also have to watch that rate of descent here, because if it gets too bad, we are in trouble. We'll have to wave off. Alright, now we can clearly see the carrier, the oiler, and the destroyer. We're at 400 feet off the deck, coming in. 3/4 of a mile, Corsair ball, roger. I'm pretty sure they would not use those calls in World War II, but then I don't know what they did in World War II. Okay, there's the carrier. Alright, let's see if we can bring her down. We're a little high up, so I'm going to go ahead and drop everything. Okay, come on, baby, line up. And that was a bounce. Okay, full throttle. Compensate for torque. That is a bolter. That is a bolter. I kind of expected that on my first time around, so I'm none too surprised there. There's our battleship. We'll turn around just past the battleship, and we'll try this again. Now, the only downside with what we just did there, all our trim is reset, so I have to trim it up again. And I probably should give it a little bit of right trim, because I notice she's having this tendency to turn to the left. Okay, a little bit more up trim, Just to remind you, the trim wheel is right there. That's the elevator trim. Alright, let's make our turn. Once again, 30-degree bank. Keep speed around 100, so we'll keep the throttle up moderately. Try to make this a level turn. We want to be at 500 feet, roughly. We're swinging her around to the south. There's our ships. Wait till the compass says south, and then we'll straighten up. Right about there. It is definitely a ballet, folks, trying to bring this thing down on the deck. We will have to compensate for wind. You'll excuse me here, I got a cough. Sorry about that. Hopefully I remembered to mute that, but if I did not, really sorry about that. Alright, it's kind of swinging us closer to the carrier here than I would like, but we are currently abeam, which is also good. And we're just over 500. Okay, so we're going to do it exactly as we did before. Hopefully this time we'll have a happy ending. You can definitely see us drifting here. Sheesh, what in the hell? It's damn tailwind. Or maybe it's a headwind. I don't even remember. Okay, I think it is a headwind right now. Alright, so I'm going to pull us over to the right here. Okay, we're starting to get a little high. I think I kind of over-trimmed it, but I know that as soon as I drop the power, the trim's going to come back down. So we're going to keep it roughly around 100 knots. We're basically trimmed for just the right glide slope at 100 knots. So every time I play around with the throttle here, that of course messes everything up. Alright, I'm going to keep it nice and slow because I'm not in a rush to get on that deck. I just want to get on there safely. You're watching this video right now, therefore you're probably used to my channel and know that my videos are generally not 10 or 15 minutes long. So you're not in a rush either, is my point. Okay, I'm watching my gauges, watching the position of the cruiser. Let's go ahead and swing her around. 30-degree left-handed bank. Try to make it a level turn, give it a little power. Not too much. Not too much. Alright, for some strange reason, it looks like this turn has to be a little bit more shallow than what we did to go downwind, which is really messing me up because it's not downwind, it's actually upwind. Alright, let's go ahead and bring ourselves around. Once again, we'll need to be above the cruiser. There's our cruiser. I might line up a little to the right of it, so we'll straighten up from here. Looking good so far. Keep our attitude up. Keep our speed up. Okay, and now because we are going with the wind, it's kind of pushing the nose down. So I just had to trim us up a little bit here. Take a quick look to the right. Can't see anything. Quick look to the left. I can see the Laffy. Where the hell's that oiler? There it is. Alright, what's our altitude? 500. And we're starting to drift again. I'm going to bring her up to about 600. Trying to stay on speed. Okay, we're generally lined up. This is really a good position. So, I'm going to get a little bit closer until I can see both ships on either side. There's the oiler, which is a bit bigger of a ship than the destroyer. But I can kind of sort of start to see the destroyer out of my left eye in the Oculus Rift, which means you can't see it because it's currently tracking my right eye. Alright, speed. What are we looking at here? Okay, yeah, we can start bringing her down. Gotta watch that rate of descent. Alright, keep the nose up. Okay, moment of truth, folks. Can I bring her down onto the deck? I seem to have lost the smoke for the carrier, so I really can't see where the heck I'm going. Does look like I'm going to hit the island, though. There we go. Here we go. Whoa! Okay! That was a little rough. That was definitely not my best landing. However, it will do. It will definitely suffice. So here we go, folks. We are on a World War II vintage aircraft carrier, an Essex class carrier. The Essex herself. Alright, that was fun. Now the other cool little thing about the Corsair is once you've actually successfully trapped, the tailhook automatically goes up. So you'll see the little tailhook lever there is in the up position, which I think is cool. However, flaps we gotta do manually. Sorry about that. I just sneezed there. Hopefully I remember to mute that as well. Okay, let's go ahead and turn off our landing lights. We'll fold up our wings. How do you like them apples? So there you go. I guess that is technically my first YouTube carrier trap on a World War II vintage carrier with a World War II vintage aircraft. So how about that? As you can see, there is the Laffey, the destroyer. Other side we've got the oiler, but of course you can't see it because of the island, the superstructure here. You'll see our battleship up in front and our cruiser way in the back. Awesome, awesome stuff. So that is what I wanted to show you today, folks. Just to remind you, this beautiful birdie here is the Aircraft Factory F4U-1D Corsair. Remember, I did do some slight modifications to mine, so if you would like to replicate what I've been doing here today, drop me a line, a private message, and I will send you the aircraft.cfg that I've modified to make what you've just seen happen. And I'll also remind you that Aircraft Factory is the precursor to A2A, so you can expect some really good fidelity on this aircraft. The ships, of course, are from Sim Outhouse. They are always free. The aircraft is not free, by the way. That is payware. The link will be below. But the ships definitely are free, and I highly recommend you pick them up if you love your World War II vintage ships. One of the things I did not show you, in particular with the Essex here, you can have static Corsairs on the deck, so you can set them up either in a launch configuration or a recovery configuration. Obviously, if it was recovery, they would be to the fore of the ship, and if it was launch, they would be behind me here. However, I decided to take those out because I wanted as clean a deck as possible just in case I really loused this up, which is good to see that I didn't. So on that note, that is it for me. This has been BelGeode, and I have been flying in Microsoft Flight Simulator X Steam Edition, flying the Aircraft Factory F4U, or U1 actually, Corsair, and doing some World War II carrier ops here in Vanuatu. Thank you as always for watching. If you enjoy what you have seen, please feel free to give me a like. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will be back on the next one. So ciao!